Yeah, Reaper, Dutch, Reaper. Yeah, he fucked up once, we gave that nigga pass, yeah. Now we all on him with a pump, not no gas. Yeah, and his new Beamer Cooper don't crash. Always in first, can't fuck with no last. Pull up on you, I shoot with no mask. You a broke boy, yeah, stick to your task. Yeah, why the fuck is you talking nobody ass? You a lazy jit, yeah, you sit on your ass. A billion years till you see.
Yo, what's good, YouTube? My name is Antonio Coleman. I'm one half of Finally in Love, and today I'm gonna be showing you guys how you can create your own graphic tees using heat transfer paper. But before we get started and head on into the video, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe to our channel. I'll be dropping content monthly detailing not only the process of creating your apparel, but also the ins and outs of navigating a business startup. You guys can hit us at finallyinlovecode.com. That's our website. Sign up for our newsletter. You guys can communicate with us through email, or you guys can also check out our socials at finallyinlovecode for our Instagram and Twitter. I'll also leave a link down to those below. Now, let's get into it. Alright, so the main things that you guys are going to need to create graphic tees such as this one is number one, editing or graphic editing software. Graphic editing softwares are basically how people create their designs. Popular ones are Adobe Illustrator, Procreate, CorelDRAW. GIMP is a free one that I utilized when I started. Basically, these platforms are just how you can create your designs in vector image form. You guys want to familiarize yourself with these platforms and get used to it and comfortable, and whichever one you choose, you definitely want to make sure that it's compatible with your vinyl cutter. Some vinyl cutters do utilize some platforms more than others, and you can run into problems when trying to either boot up the programs from your vinyl cutter onto your design editing software. You guys want to make sure you guys have an inkjet printer. The one we use is the Epson Workforce. It's a very reliable printer. It's able to hold the big size sheets as well as even bigger sheets if we choose to grab some. And I believe it applies the colors and the shades that we want very well. The only thing I wish I would have looked into is the EcoTank line or any refillable cartridge printer, just because I find myself using ink or going through my inks, different colors, black, cyan, magenta, and yellow, very fast. It's definitely something that I am going to look into, but nonetheless, it still is a reliable printer and one I do recommend. Next, you guys want to grab yourself a vinyl cutter. I happen to use a Graphtec CE 7000. That's the model I own and I utilize. It's a very, I would say, mid to top of the line vinyl cutter, and it's pretty high up in price. Now, that doesn't mean you have to go out and grab the same machine. There's plenty of different vinyl cutters on the market. Another popular one you might have heard of is Cricut. Cricut has various vinyl cutters out there on the market that would provide the same experience with vinyl as well as heat transfer paper. Make sure that you're checking within your price range, grabbing what you need, what makes sense, and what you're comfortable with on your programs as well. You guys are also want to make sure you have a heat press so you guys can apply your design to your garment. The heat press we use is going to be pictured around here. You guys should be able to see it. It's supposed to be a 5 system heat press, but I'm not gonna lie to you, it's kind of breaking down. So I'm definitely looking to invest in another one. I'm probably gonna get a Raycon. Those are very top of the line heat presses. I'm on a wider base as well, so definitely invest in a good heat press. And last but not least, what you guys are gonna need, obviously, is your heat transfer paper. We use the 3G Jet Opaque 2 heat transfer paper. It's something I do recommend you guys grab if you can find it on a bulk or wholesale website. I'll link the one we use down below. Basically, it lasts up to 15 washes. It's very durable. I'm pleased with the outcome of each wash and dry session. The cost breakdown per sheet is very good. If you can find your shirts that you want at an affordable price, you can create some very great graphic tees that'll last you up to, like I said, 15 washes, which is very durable lifetime for a shirt. And I think you guys would be pleased with the end result as well. Here we have our Sailor Moon t-shirt featuring Usagi Tsukino from the popular anime show Sailor Moon. And when you're creating these designs, you want to make sure these designs are vectored images. Vectored images means that the computer is going to read the lines on the screen or the lines that you create as solid lines on the sheet and not as pixel images. This is very important because your vinyl cutter will pick up these lines and plot that needle exactly where it needs to be. This is how you can get very precise cuts on these sheets with just your design only. They come out very clean. I think it's pretty dope. but they will not work unless your image is vectored image. So once you finalize your image, you guys want to vectorize your image, and then once it's vectorized, you guys want to create a contour or outline of that vectored image. The outline lets the plotter know that I'm going to plot this needle on the outside edge of this design so that everything on the inside, the graphic, can remain, while everything on the outside is getting weeded or cut from the negative. Next, you guys want to plot your registration marks. Registration marks are marks on the edge of your paper used by your vinyl cutter to get a pinpoint area of where your actual graphic design is on your sheet of paper. That way it lines it up and it's cutting precisely and exactly where it needs to cut. You can do this many different ways depending on what software you use, as well as which vinyl cutter you have. Here you guys can see that we utilize Cutting Master. This is a program that runs with the Graphtec line. And here we open up Cutting Master. We see our contoured image, and now we input our dimensions of our sheet. You can change the dimensions depending on what sheet that you have. You guys want to make sure that your dimensions are set, as well as the positioning of your design on that sheet. You're going to make sure it's set in the middle, make sure that the design isn't flipped or anything like that, and then we're just going to send it off to the cutting. First though, you guys want to double check your pressure and your speed at which you're cutting at. These things do matter. You don't want to cut all the way through the paper. You guys want to cut just on top of that little vinyl material that comes on your heat transfer paper, and then you're going to weed the negative once the rest of it is cut from your graphic image. That way you can get an easy peel process. Your design comes out exactly how you want it to be, and there's no issues with weeding the negative. Alright, and I personally use a carrier sheet. A problem I had to come around or get across with using the Graphtec cutter is that the push rollers didn't give me ample space to cut my design, so it kept giving me a lot of error messages and things like that. It's not uncommon. A lot of people use carrier sheets just to give them a little bit more maneuverability with your design, and it helps me out a lot. So I use a carrier sheet. I definitely recommend, if you guys have a larger vinyl cutter or vinyl cutters that can cut bigger designs, you guys utilize a carrier sheet as well. Alright, now that the design is taped down, I have it exactly where I want it to be, I'm gonna go ahead and load it into my Graphtec machine, put down the push rollers exactly where I want them to be, just giving that design ample space to where the cutter can maneuver around and cut out exactly how I want it to cut out. I'm just gonna read these registration marks as you guys see here. I'm gonna read them out all four corners just to make sure it has a good awareness of where the design is at, where it's about to put down this needle. Once all the four marks register and it's good to go, it's going to go ahead and initiate the cutting process. It's going to go around, plot that needle down, cut exactly where it is on the outside, cut those few spots that I have on the inside just so the shirt can be not see-through but transparent at some parts. And then it should stop when it's done. After it stops, I can go ahead and release the pressure lever from the machine and then remove my carrier sheet along with my heat transfer paper. Alright, with my carrier sheet removed, I'm gonna take off the heat transfer paper sheet away from my carrier sheet. I'm gonna separate that, and then next I'm gonna do something we call weed the negative. I got a little hook tool that I found at my local printer and vinyl warehouse, but I'm pretty sure you can find these at Michael's. Any other arts and crafts store should have them. Next, we're just gonna peel up the top vinyl layer. As you guys can see here, this is the real difference between the paper underneath and kind of the vinyl lining layer on top. I get my hook, I peel a corner that's not gonna obviously be on the shirt. I don't want to get too close to the design just because I can scratch off the ink. I don't want to ruin the design at all. So I get the edge of the corner and I just gently pull it off from the rest of the design. As you can see, it's pretty smooth. Once you guys get a good force down with a good speed, vinyl cutters can do a real good job at cutting just that thin layer that it needs to be, no more, no less. Now comes the actual application process of the heat transfer paper onto your material. So I tend to utilize heat transfer tape just to hold my graphic design exactly where I need to be when I'm transferring it from my table to my heat press. The tape doesn't burn, it's not gonna melt on your heat press or anything like that. I again found it at my local heat transfer store, but you guys can find your roll on Google anywhere. But definitely a big help making sure I have my graphic design exactly where I need to be at all times. Then what you want to grab is a Teflon sheet or some different type of protective material. There's different materials that give your designs different finishes. The Teflon sheet kind of gives it like a old school graphic t-shirt feel. There's transparency sheets that give it more of a smooth, clean type feel. So it just depends on how you want your shirt to be finished. Alright, next you're gonna need to press your design. So what you guys want to double check is the temperature, the time, and the pressure at which this design is going to be applied. There's different pressures, temperatures, and all that for different heat transfer papers. So you guys want to make sure you're utilizing the right and necessary temperature, so your designs don't pill up or they don't get burned, leave like a yellow tinge on it. You guys want to make sure your designs are coming vibrant as they need to be, as well as staying on for those desired application of washes. So you're going to want to remove your heat press from your shirt, and also remove that Teflon sheet depending on if your design is a cold peel or a hot peel. The paper we use is a hot peel, so I'm going to remove this sheet. And here's the finished product. You guys can see me with one on right here, as well as one on in the video. But it's a very dope finish, like I said. Colors are gonna last, colors are gonna remain. And I think it makes for a very nice t-shirt, if I do say so myself. That's it. Now you guys can create your own graphic tees at home, utilizing the best setup for you. Definitely do your research, definitely check your background, just to make sure you're getting what's sufficient at the current point in time. Don't ever stress things. You guys can do a lot with what you have. If you guys have any questions, I know I went through a lot of different terms, machineries, programs, and techniques. Leave them down in the comment section below. I'll definitely get back to as many people as I can. You guys can also contact us at our website at finallyinloveco.com. You'll find all of our products there. Sign up for our newsletter, send us an email, we'll respond back to you. You guys can check out our social platforms at finallyinloveco. It's for our Twitter and Instagram all together. Thank you guys for the support on the first video. If you guys could kindly leave a like, subscribe. I got more content on the way coming detailing not only us but our process and how we got there. So yeah, stay tuned.